The movement Wait Until 8th, where parents are waiting until grade 8 to give their kids smartphones, was created in response to parental concern about phones' impact on the health and mental well-being of our children. The research here in Canada shows that 2 in 5 kids aged 2 to 17 own a cell phone, with the highest usage, of course, among teens. So here to break down why waiting is a good idea is Dr. Anne-Marie Mediwake. She is the pediatrician and professor at the University of Toronto, and she joins us this morning. Great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, Dr. Mediwake, from a neuroscience perspective, why does this work? Why is it important to wait until grade 8 to give a kid a phone?
So the brain of a child is developing, and so the child needs a whole bunch of stimuli. And if you're only looking at a computer screen, you're not getting the stimuli you need. You need to have interactions with the outside world. And kids, they tend to be addicted to their phones. And so often if they're looking at their phones at night, that again affects their sleep and affects their brain development.
What about neural pathway development? Because they are a developing brain, especially when they're teens.
Yeah, and so the neural pathway develops depending on the stimuli. So if you're not getting a diverse amount of stimuli, it sort of limits that development. And so you really are not developing the brain the way it should be.
What kind of an impact does this have on kids' interpersonal skills?
Oh, it has a huge impact. A lot of kids are choosing to be on their phones and having these virtual friendships, sometimes with kids they've never met, rather than their friends and family. And really, and a lot of times when you're talking to people, like adults and kids, they're distractible. They're always waiting for their phone. So it does impact their development of relationships. And kids should be outside. They should be playing and engaging with other kids instead of being on a screen with virtual friends.
And that's from a neuroscience perspective, to be outside and to develop that.
Yeah.
Most social media platforms have been carefully engineered to keep kids clicking and scrolling. I mean, that's how they're designed to be used. So how does that impact a child's brain?
So children may not have the development to say no and turn off. So as you said, it's designed in a way to keep people on, and that's how they make their money. Mm-hmm. And so they've shown studies where the longer that, the more time a child spends on the phone, the less their development, their skills, their academic performance. There's also the risk of bullying and cyber texting. Mm-hmm. And a lot of kids might feel anxiety, depression, because they feel like they're missing out. Mm-hmm. They feel like they see these influencers who have these perfect lives, and they feel like their life is not as good. They're not enough.
Previously, you used the word addicted to their phones. Would you consider they're medically addicted to their phones?
I would say so.
Really?
If kids can't put their phones down and they need it all the time, kids and adults. But, if they're texting in the middle of the night, they're always waiting for something. And they're designed, if they look at the neurochemical stimulus in the brain, it's similar to the other things that kids are addicted to, like alcohol or drugs. It's that same kind of response that you get.
That's fascinating. Recently, you'll be aware of this, the Ontario government tightened the rules on cell phones in schools. They've limited it significantly. What's your take on that?
I think it's important. I mean, kids are distractible. They're not sleeping at night. There are studies that show that kids that spend a lot of time online, their marks, academic achievements are lower. So I think it's really important.
Really quickly, the program says to wait until 8. My concern would be if we hand over a phone to a child who's in grade 8 who hasn't been trained how to properly use a phone or to use social media. I feel like that could be dangerous too. Is there a way to incrementally introduce phones?
I think incrementally, maybe at the beginning, use a flip phone, and also have limits. Don't give the kid a phone to use at night. I used to take the phone away at night because my kids were always on their phone. And so there are different ways to manage this, and again, have expectations and limits.
Great to have your insight on this, Dr. Banerjee. Thank you so much.
My
pleasure.
We'll
be right back.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.